Hello everyone, welcome back. It is again Season coming at you with another video, and before we do get into it, we are going to be talking about the Call of Duty League and the problems within it. But thank you so much for the support on the last video, means a lot to me. Video is doing incredibly well. Hit affiliate on Twitch, really appreciate all of the support. You all are absolutely amazing. But yeah, let's get on to the video. So the Call of Duty League came in to replace the Call of Duty World League when Activision wanted to take more control of the competitive scene in their video game, and we were left with the Call of Duty League. So this started in 2020 on Modern Warfare 2019, and I have not seen it improve on really anything for competitive Call of Duty, and it's been a net negative overall for Call of Duty competitively. So today I compiled a list of problems with the Call of Duty League, but before we do get into that, please drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, but yeah, let's get on to the video. So first of all, it's way too corporate. They're trying so hard to be like sports and copy the layout with the regular season and the franchises being like location based. And the franchises aren't even based in an actual location where they say they're from. Most of them are playing out of Dallas. The problem with this whole franchising teams thing is they removed a lot of the branding from iconic esports, specifically Call of Duty esports orgs, and just completely nuked that entire branding. There have been so many iconic orgs over time that have made runs and made their name known in the community by having a good run in the CWL. Now there are 12 orgs. Most of them aren't really tied to a name, and it's just location and then the mascot or whatever. And when most of the teams are playing out of Dallas, it just feels disingenuous. In Call of Duty, and really esports in general, people don't pick a team because of a location. In sports, I pick my teams based on being from Missouri most of the time. In esports, it's not about that. It's about the connection you make with the org or the players or something. I mean, the reason I've been an Optic fan isn't because of where they were located or any of that. It's because of the personalities, the players, and the creators. Orgs that put out content and brand their players and creators. That's why Thieves and FaZe and Optic are some of the biggest brands in the CDL, because they put out content or actually do something to brand their players and give you a reason to like them. The next problem goes along with it being too corporate. The regular season matches don't mean that much. For the most part, we know who the good teams and the bad teams are, and there's not as much upset potential as there is in something like basketball, where a team can have an off night shooting. There aren't divisional rivalries, and really regular season matchups don't matter that much. Yeah, it sucks if Optic loses to FaZe or 100 Thieves or something, but it will always hurt 100 times more if they do it at a tournament than in the regular season, where they're playing for 10 COD points, which don't really mean that much. The CDL doesn't have a single regular season match that makes me really say, this is a massive, massive match. The reality is the difference between like a 1 and 2 seed isn't that big, and the only match that would potentially matter is like a match to make it to COD Champs or not. Outside of that, there's just no excitement for these little regular season matches. It gives you 10 COD points and seeding for the tournaments. My next problem with the CDL is they have done such a bad job of having tournaments. We have, 4 or 5 regular season LAN tournaments, and usually one of those gets bumped down to a no spectator LAN. People are hungry to go to these events, see the creators, the players, the sponsors, other fans, feel the energy of being in an arena watching their favorite team play with a bunch of other fans. We get 4 or 5 opportunities a year maybe to do that, and they're usually in the same set of locations because it's also centralized and all, that there's never even a major remotely close to me in the country. And with such few opportunities, you leave so many people who are hungry to get to an event, but it's just too hard to, because there are such limited opportunities with so few LAN in-person events. Online minors just kind of feel like a throwaway thing, like something they tried to add to make the season a little bit more tolerable, but the teams are playing for 30 COD points. Like, that's not that much in terms of COD points, and I think only first place gets money. So really, there's no incentive for these minor tournaments. No one's even gonna view them as big a deal as a major, because it's not a major. It's an online tournament, single elimination. There's more hype for sure than a regular season match, but there's not even nearly the same hype as a major tournament. The next problem is there is zero financial reason for almost any org to be in challengers. The reality is, unless you are able to pay for like a top challengers team, you don't even have the opportunity to think about cutting even. You are going to be dumping money, and a lot of teams see this as a marketing expense. It gives you a chance to get your name out there in the Call of Duty community and get some name recognition and maybe some fans, but you know you're not going to break even because you're probably not going to win enough to break even with everything you're paying for. And I know this has always been an issue, but the Call of Duty League completely neglects the challengers community. We used to have open tournaments where a team could make a miracle run, and now all of a sudden it casts that org into the spotlight. Now, you will never play against the pros unless there's like a pro-am, which I think may have happened once, but there are not really opportunities, and there sometimes aren't even challengers tournaments at the majors, which is just mind-boggling to me, seeing as challengers is supposedly one of the little pillars in the CDL logo. On top of that, there are only 12 teams in the league. This league has been going on for 5 or 6 years, and we still only have 12 teams, and it's a revolving door of brands because so many of them just don't see it as worth it. They rebrand because they sell ownership, because the business model of the league is completely off, and they expected to be making some money because esports looked like it was about to blow up, and it did for a while during the pandemic. But now it's getting back and course correcting a little bit, and it looks like the bubble popped to a lot of investors who are expecting a fast return, and the Call of Duty League just grew a little bit too big too fast as far as production and all goes. But as far as teams go, we've still got 12 teams. My next problem is that everyone knows who the top 3 to 4 teams are going to be going into the year. Outside of just complete fluke circumstances like Optic having the revolving door of Pred and Hook and Kenny underperforming, everyone already kind of knows based on looking at the pros who is going to win and who is going to be absolutely terrible. There is very little excitement outside of like top 4 matchups. There are no underdog stories because the talent is so concentrated. With only 12 teams and a lot of orgs that just kind of do the bare minimum, throw players near minimum or minimum contracts, and not a lot of competition, the top teams are able to build these super teams with all of the stars, and then it just leaves the rest of the teams to fight for the scraps. If there was more of the CWL mindset where it's a little bit more open and you can take any player to any team as long as they can pay them, people would invest in players. You would see a vet take 3 unproven challengers players who are pretty decent and really give them a shot at a run and maybe come into the mainstream and build a name for themselves. But now, even if you do that and have an underdog run in challengers and get your name big, there are only 48 pro spots, really only 44 because Falcons are so determined to only have players from one region. If you're not from that region, there are 44 pro spots in the world to be a Call of Duty professional, and if you're not one of those 44, you're grinding challengers for minimal money. My next thing kind of goes along with it, but some of the teams just feel like placeholders. If I'm being completely honest, they don't really put any effort into it. There's no content. They don't really brand themselves well. They don't have top players, and they're just trying to financially stay afloat. And it feels like they are purely there because A, they have to be, and B, Activision wants 12 teams so that they can fill their YouTube contract and say that all of these matches were played. But a lot of these teams just put in such low effort that they just kind of feel like a punching bag for the top teams. And I'm making this video not because I hate competitive Call of Duty. I love competitive Call of Duty. I want it to grow. I want it to be the most hyped up esport in existence. I want it to be as exciting as it felt during the CWL days. The problem is they just do not care about the viewer experience. The fan experience gets worse and worse because they're trying to cut corners to save money and hopefully at least make it kind of generate some revenue. But yeah, that's really all I have for this video. If you did enjoy it, please drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know down in the comments what you agree with, what you disagree with, what you would add. I am really open to hear your arguments, and I am really excited to see what you have to say. But that's going to be all for today's video, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye.